So many people talk about meditation, mindfulness, mind, body, spirit. What does that all mean at the end of the day? And I think it's so intimidating. And I remember somebody telling me back 15, 20 years ago, just meditate. It does wonders for the body. But it's not quite that simple, right? If you have a busy brain, if you're someone who's used to running around and being super stressed out a lot of the time, sitting still is really hard. And sitting still and getting your mind to focus and to relax is a skill and an exercise. In the early days of my fellowship that I did with Dr. Andy Weil, this was all the way back to 2008, 2009, just to give you historical context there, they had us do this exercise of sitting and closing our eyes, taking deep breaths in and out, and just thinking of every thought as a highway and a car on a highway, and it's just racing by and letting each thought go by as it comes. Well, I thought that was a brilliant way to begin this conversation around meditation and mindfulness. But if you just try that right now while I'm talking for a second and just see, give yourself maybe 10 seconds and see if you can be still and let every thought just run through the brain very quickly and not attach anything to it. Well, it's not as easy as it sounds, especially as we talk through it. And what I learned over the years is that actual meditation takes time and energy and commitment. And sometimes it's just too hard to get the brain to slow down. So how do you start a meditation practice? And what I want to do in this video is help you understand that meditation is not just sitting in a room, closing your eyes, thinking about your thoughts or not thinking about your thoughts, technically. Meditation is a lot more than that. There are many different practices and modalities and ways to be meditative, which at the end of the day means being reflective, being calm, and being centered. Let's talk about some of the ways to ease yourself into a meditation practice that's simple and easy and doesn't feel daunting and overwhelming. I feel like all of us, including our children, need to practice some sort of meditation because we're in an era of high cortisol, low dopamine, our neurotransmitters are off, it's crashing our hormones, our brains are overloaded. It's almost like we purposefully have to turn our batteries off and down and power down for a period of time. So how do we start a meditative practice? Well, one of the things, I'm going to go back to what I love to do and what's so easy for me to do, and it's simply to journal. I find journaling and just dumping all my thoughts out on a piece of paper so therapeutic. And I have done it over and over again through the years. In fact, I save a lot of my journals, and I have like these big trunks with journals that I've kept, from even 10 and 15 years ago. Journaling is one way of cleaning the brain, dumping out all that anxiety over processing and putting it on a piece of paper. And there are many studies that talk about the hand to brain connection and how simply using that is a form of meditation. One of the things that I think really changed the course of my life is a book called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. And there are many different versions of that book that have come out in the years since. But here was her philosophy. Spend 30 minutes a day just writing on a blank piece of paper. And it doesn't matter. You could write, I like garbage, or, why didn't I take the trash out? It doesn't matter what you write, but it was a way of dumping and rebooting the brain. And doing that over and over again, for again, 30 days. I love the 30 minutes a day for 30 days. Your aha moment would be revealed. And sure enough, it was, because you're getting rid of all this noise that you've got in your head and that might be blocking whatever it is you want to manifest or see to fruition in your life. So that's one way. Journaling for 5 minutes, journaling for 10 minutes, or doing a program like the Artist Way where you journal 30 minutes a day for 30 days to really see yourself on the other side of all of this crazy noise that we've got going on in our brains. That's one technique. But there are others. There are things like using essential oils and then doing just a little bit of breath work, right? Pick your favorite scent. Remember, essential oils travel to the limbic system and calm the nervous system down, which at the end of the day, that's what we're after. I personally love sandalwood or frankincense or lemongrass. Those are some of my favorites. Lemongrass is a little bit more stimulating when I'm tired. Frankincense and sandalwood, I love to kind of keep me sort of in this even state. But taking just a couple drops and putting it like right here on your wrist on the sides of your nose, maybe up here on your temples or even the back of your neck, and then practicing just a few breathing techniques. And again, we don't need to be fancy. Just make sure your inhale is as long as your exhale and then start to extend it. So we can inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. You can close your eyes and do this while I talk. I can't do it at the same time, but close your eyes and inhale for 4. And now exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do it again, but this time start to make those exhales longer. Inhale for 4. Now exhale for 7. Inhale again for 4 and exhale for 7. So what we're doing here is we're working our way into what we call the 4-7-8 breath, which is a way of breathing where you inhale, hold the air for 4 counts, blow it out for 7, and then start the cycle back over again. And that 4-7-8 way of breathing is again a way of bringing the nervous system back into balance, bringing cortisol levels down. Not closing your eyes, holding on to thoughts, but actually actively trying to breathe your way through them. And that you can do anywhere. And it's actually been shown in research to lower blood pressure by about 10 to 20 points. My husband used it when his dental procedures, when I first learned this technique, he started to use it on his patients who were super anxious about getting a procedure done. And sure enough, it would bring their blood pressure down so they could move forward. So the 4-7-8 breath is just one way of breathing. There's box breathing where you breathe in clear intervals. There's yoga breathing, right, which is a little bit different. So it doesn't matter which way you choose. Just choose some breath work, pair it with some aromatherapy, and boom, you have a meditation practice, believe it or not. All right, let's talk about a few others. There's so many. I mean, I could go on forever. And I'd love to know, by the way, what your favorite is and how you incorporate this into your regular life, because I think, again, at the end of the day, we all learn so much from each other. But here's another one. You know, a lot of times if you don't want to write, you don't want to breathe, I hope you're breathing, but you don't want to breathe, and you don't want to like sit in a room with your thoughts kind of running through you, another thing you could do is actually utilize your phone, which I have sitting somewhere over here, but utilize your phone and utilize apps that do guided imagery. And here's the difference. With guided imagery, and you could go on Spotify and Google guided imagery, you could do that on Headspace or Calm, any of these apps. But what they do, now someone's talking to you and walking you through a meditative practice rather than you kind of having to do it on your own. So you're listening to them. They may say, close your eyes. Imagine you're in a forest of some kind. Now you're walking through that forest. What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you see? And as it's almost like self-hypnosis in a way, it's a way of calming the nervous system down, bringing the body back into balance so that it's your moment to reboot, reset before you power through again. So guided imagery is something that I actually started with. Between journaling and guided imagery, those were probably my two favorites. Now I've gotten to the point where I can self-meditate, so to speak, right? I can sit in a room and I can do this on my own for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. But in the beginning, I couldn't. And I don't think it's realistic to expect anyone to be able to jump into this right away and do that. All right, let me talk about my two other favorites, and then hopefully you have something from here that you could pick. I love a good sound bath. I don't know if you've ever tried that. Now you can actually order, and I ordered it, I just don't have it here to show you, but I ordered sound, like a whole sound bath set and singing bowls where the frequencies of the different notes calm the nervous system. And that could be your meditative practice, right? Where you do some sort of a sound bath on a daily basis to bring yourself back in balance. And of course, the last one you already know about, yoga. Yoga is, by its essence, a form of meditation. It is a moving meditation where you have to marry the breath to your movement or you're going to fall or not do a pose correctly. Yoga is one of my favorite meditative practices personally. It keeps me active. It forces me to pay attention to my breath, because if you don't, you're going to fall or not do a pose correctly or hurt yourself, right? So yoga continues to be something that I use on a regular basis. I try to do it at least 2 to 3 times a week. I journal, probably about 3 to 4 times a week as well. Guided imagery, I might use once a week. Self-meditation, I may do twice a week. But all of this, and I can try to get a sound bath in every now and then, but all of this is my meditative practice. So you see, you can create a meditation practice of your own. You just have to start somewhere. And there's not one way to meditate. At the end of the day, it's about bringing cortisol down, self-reflection and self-realization, and allowing your dreams to unfold and manifest so that you can stay in alignment with your mission and your purpose. All right, I post new videos every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.